Okay, what's happening, everybody? It is Friday, May 8th, about 3:45 p.m. Eastern, and we're about 6 hours out from UFC 249 ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville. No fans, no media, but fireworks galore are expected. You can check out my preview of the main card is on the MajorWager.com homepage at the moment, and I'll have some more content going up there tonight as well. I've got analysis and picks on all 5 main card fights, and I'm going to have some other stuff as well. Okay, so it was supposed to be Brooklyn, UFC 249, Khabib, the Eagle, undefeated, undisputed UFC champion, against Tony El Cucuy Ferguson. El Cucuy is the boogeyman in Spanish. And unfortunately, for the 5th time, that fight had to be scrapped due to the global pandemic caused by the coronavirus known as COVID-19. So then Dana was going to go to Tachi Palace on tribal lands in the state of California, and that was going to be on April 18th. But the governor of California made a call to Disney, the head of Disney, ESPN's parent company, and talked him into forcing Dana White to stand down. And when he was asked that, he obliged, because ESPN and UFC have been a great partnership so far. But now here we are 3 weeks later, and I don't feel like a lot of people are saying it, so I'll say it. I'm more fired up for this than Khabib and Tony. We all want to see Khabib and Tony fight. But first off, Gaethje's the most exciting fighter on the roster, period. And Tony might be the second most exciting fighter on the roster. It is the Shark Tank division of the UFC, the 155-pound loop, and we will crown an interim champion tomorrow night. Okay, most books have Ferguson at around -190, and the total is +1, or I'm sorry, not the total. The comeback on Gaethje is +160. FanDuel has the total 2.5 rounds. The under shaded at a -138 price. The over is +114. All right, Ferguson, 12-fight winning streak. Hasn't tasted defeat since May 5th of 2012 when he lost a decision to Michael the Menace Johnson. In his last 4 octagon appearances, he's beaten 2 former lightweight champs in Anthony Showtime Pettis and Rafael dos Anjos. He's also beaten Donald Cowboy Cerrone, who leads the UFC in career wins, and he is tied for most octagon appearances with Jim Miller at 34, but Cowboy, who faces Showtime, that's how deep this card is. And by the way, there's 6 current or former champions on this card. There's 2 title fights, and there's Cowboy and Pettis. Cowboy has fought for the belt. He's the all-time leader in UFC appearances and career wins, and they face in the headliner of the prelims on ESPN proper at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. More on that bout here in a bit. And so I was going to say, Cowboy will make his 35th career walk to the octagon tomorrow, and that will put him ahead of Jim Miller, and there'll be no tie at a top career UFC appearances come mañana. All right, Gaethje's on a roll. He's won 3 in a row by first-round knockout. He's bagged 7 fight night bonuses in only 6 UFC appearances. He's gotten Fight of the Year twice. His debut with Michael Johnson, winning by KO with 12 seconds left in round 2. And then his 4th-round KO loss 33 seconds into the 4th frame against Dustin the Diamond Poirier. That was a 2018 Fight of the Year. Johnson Gaethje was a 2017 Fight of the Year. Between those, he took his first career loss to former champion Eddie Alvarez in a slugfest that had Alvarez's I mean, he was so swollen. It's like he had a baseball protruding from the right side of his cheek. Both those losses to Poirier and Alvarez by Gaethje, no shame in either one of them. Obviously, Poirier went on to his next fight, beat Holloway, and win the interim lightweight belt before losing it, the unification bout against Habib last summer. So those are his only two career losses. Gaethje was a World Series of Fighting lightweight champion and was undefeated when he came into the UFC. This fight is going to be, I'm calling it now, and I mean, I'm not going out on a limb. It's going to be fight of the year, I think. And I'm more stoked to see this one than Ferguson. All right, you're not going to make a good living fading El Cucuy, but I'm going to do it in this spot. Small play, nothing crazy. I'm doing 1 unit on it, plus 160 on Justin the Highlight Gaethje. All right, let's go to the co-main event as the cringe factor will be in full display. Henry Cejudo, the former freestyle wrestling Olympic gold medal winner at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He is 15-2 overall, 9-2 in the UFC. He went up to 135 at bantamweight after he dusted Dillashaw when Dillashaw went down to flyweight. He has since relinquished his flyweight title, and now he was going to face Jose Aldo. Aldo, the travel ban, stuck in Brazil. So in comes the Dominator. Dominick Cruz, the landlord of the division, the former WEC and two-time UFC bantamweight champion, who has once again had a series of injuries that have kept him out more than 3 years, but he has experience in coming back from long layoffs like this. He was out for nearly 3 years when he returned and beat I need to see the spelling. Mizugaki with a 51-second KO. He had been out almost 3 years when he did that. And then after that win, he missed more than a year. Came back again, beat Dillashaw, won the belt for the second time. He defended it against Uriah, and then he lost it to Cody Garbrandt. Those are Cruz's only 2 career losses ever. He lost to Faber, first-round submission back in the World Extreme Cage Fighting days, when Faber was in his prime and was the champ. And he lost to Garbrandt when Garbrandt was undefeated in his prime and the champ. Those are the only 2 losses of his career. And he has beaten a lot of big names. Talking about Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, for starters. He's dusted Faber twice. Faber, one of the most famous mixed martial artists ever, and still into his 40s, looking pretty good in the octagon. I know he lost his last time out, but he was looking good in that fight. He's also, talking about back to Cruz, he's beaten Joseph Benavidez twice, actually. And he's beaten Dillashaw, former champ. Faber, a former champ, twice. Like I said, Johnson, a former champ. I believe Benavidez at one time held a belt in WEC. I'm pretty sure on that. And did Brian Bowles maybe also have a belt in WEC? I think he might have. Also beat Ian McCall back when McCall was in his prime. So anyhow, Cejudo's been on a tear. He beat Mighty Mouse, beat a champion in Dillashaw, then went up and beat Marlon Moraes. But let's remember, this is only Cejudo's second time fighting at bantamweight, and we can get plus 185 odds on Dominick Cruz. He's done this long layoff before. He's the taller man. He's got a high fight IQ, and he's got very unique movement. And I like Cruz at plus 185. All right, now my favorite pick of the UFC, the entire UFC 249 show, a heavyweight slugfest between Francis the Predator Ngannou and Lorenzo Rosenstrike, who is 10-0 in his career, 4-0 in the UFC, 9 KO wins, 7 coming in round 1. Ngannou is installed as a minus 310 favorite, Rosenstrike plus 250. My favorite play, I'm going to have 3 units on it, is under 1.5 rounds at a minus 110 price. Ngannou's last 3 fights, after he lost that snoozer of a decision against Black Beast Lewis, Derek the Black Beast Lewis, and he had previously lost to Miocic at UFC 220 when he got out wrestled for 5 rounds and he totally gassed out. So since then, like I said, he had he's had 3 first-round knockouts since then, 2 against former champs Junior Dos Santos and actually 2-time champ Cain Velasquez. He dusted Velasquez in 26 seconds, Dos Santos in 61 seconds, and before that, Curtis Blades was in the top 5. Hell, Blades might still be in the top 5. And he only needed 45 seconds to beat Blades for the second time. He had already beaten Blades previously. So that is what Ngannou has done. And if we skip over those 2 losses that I mentioned against Miocic and Black Beast, Ngannou, and we include the recent 3, going back 4 more fights, 7 of his last 7 wins have all come in round 1. 12 of Ngannou's 17 career fights have gone under 1.5 rounds. And I mentioned Rozenstruik, 7 wins coming in round 1 and 9 of his 10 wins coming by KO. He's also got the second fastest KO in UFC history, or maybe that's UFC heavyweight history. 9-second disposal of Alan Crowder. So 3 units on under 1.5 at a -110 price. And I'm going to go with a little baby play, a little half unit on Rozenstruik at the +250 odds. Okay, developing today, Jeremy Stephens was the only, out of 24 fighters, was the only one to miss weight. He came in at 150.5 pounds for a non-title featherweight scrap. You're given the 1 pound allowance, so he had to be at 146, so he misses weight by 4.5 pounds. He is the fight is still on. He is forfeiting. He's forfeiting his 30% of his purse to Calvin Qatar. Excuse me. And Qatar is a -250-ish favorite. You get Stephens, little heathen, at around +205. The over/under is 2.5 rounds. Over is -166. The under is +136. And the last time Stephens missed weight at UFC 189, he defeated Dennis Bermudez by flying knee knockout early in round 3. I was on Stephens at around +180 that night, if memory serves. And I'll be on him again tomorrow at around +205. So Cotter saw his 10-fight winning streak snapped with a decision loss to Renato Moicano at UFC 223. But then he got nice wins over Chris Fishgold, first-round KO. Then the bully, Ricardo Lamas, stalwart in this division, took him out by first-round KO. And but Cotter is in bounce-back mode here. He's off a loss to Magomed Sharipov in a close fight, 29-28 by all 3 judges. Stephens also lost to Magomed Sharipov 2 rounds to 1, 29-28 on all 3 judges' cards as well. So Stephens is making his 33rd career walk to the octagon, which puts him in 3rd place all time behind Cowboy and Jim Miller, and he's in a tie with Damian Maia at 32 right now. So he'll go to make that walk tomorrow night for the 33rd time. He is 28-17-1 overall, 15-16-1 in the UFC. He is 8-8, and that 1 is not a draw. It's actually a no contest. He is 8-8 with 1 no contest since going up to the going down. He used to fight at lightweight, going down to 145 pounds. Stephens is 4th in UFC history in total octagon time, 6 hours, 20 minutes, and 38 seconds. And if this scrap goes the 15-minute distance, he will move into 2nd place in UFC history in total octagon time, behind only the pace-setting former champion Frankie the Answer Edgar, who has 7 hours, 16 minutes, and 11 seconds of octagon time in his career. So Stephens hasn't won in more than 2 years, but no shameful losses. He went into that fight 2 summers ago against Jose Aldo, the former featherweight kingpin, who was coming off 2 straight knockout losses to Max blessed Holloway, the champion at the time. And so with a win over Aldo, Stevens was going to have a very good argument to get a title shot after what would have been a 4th straight win, and he was on the cusp of getting that win. He had Aldo rocked and just in complete survival mode less than 2 minutes into that fight, but Aldo was able to survive and then attacked, and he ended up finishing Stevens, I believe it was the 4:11 mark of round number 1. No, I'm sorry, it was the 4:19 mark of round number 1. Since then, the aforementioned loss to Magomed Sharapov, who I believe is now 3rd ranked in the featherweight division, and he also had the no contest with Yair Rodriguez down in Mexico City. The eye poke, 15 seconds in, he couldn't see, he couldn't continue. They rebooked that matchup. Rodriguez prevailed 2 rounds to 1, 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. So Stevens almost beat Aldo, but then got beat. But Aldo, has Aldo ever lost a 145-pound fight to anyone but Holloway? I don't think so. No. Right? He beat Moicano. He beat Stevens. Did he have another loss that prompted him to go to 135? Maybe he did. And I'm shooting a blank on it right now. Sorry. But anyway, the point is, and by the way, Yair Rodriguez is now 5th ranked in the featherweight division. And I said Magomed Sharapov is 3rd ranked. I don't even know if they have Aldo ranked because he's dropped down to bantamweight. But anywho, and Stevens is ranked 7th. Qatar is ranked 9th. But that's not why I like Stevens. I don't care about that. But whatever, you know, the higher ranked guy is the underdog, but no big shakes there. Stevens has beaten 2 former UFC champions. He put Dos Anjos to sleep in the lightweight division, and then in a 145-pound fight, he beat Renan Barão, who was the former bantamweight champion. He also has a win over Gilbert Melendez, the former longtime Strikeforce champion. Other notable scalps for Stevens: Cole Miller, Sam Stout, Marcus Davis, Darren Elkins, Dennis Bermudez, Do Hoo Choi, the Korean Superboy. Gimme Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens, half unit. There's plus 240 odds at 5 dimes if you have access to an offshore account there. The other main card fight, Greg Hardy against Jorgen De Castro. Hardy 5-2-1 overall, 4-2-1 UFC. It was a no contest. He used his asthma inhaler. I can't remember if it was between 2nd and 3rd or 1st and 2nd rounds. Can't do that. That was a no contest. He lost to Volkov. He took a big step up in class his last fight. He fought a top 10 contender. Volkov was 7th ranked at the time. Hardy went the distance, acquitted himself okay, but just Volkov kept distance and pieced him up with that jab. Anyhow, De Castro is a plus 172 dog. Hardy minus 205-ish at most spots. The total 1.5 rounds. Over minus 156. Under plus 128. Let's go a half unit on under 1.5 rounds. Plus 128. 2 heavyweights. I think one of them goes to sleep a little early. There's your main card preview. Picks on each fight. By the way, Hardy's first 6 fights went under 1.5 rounds, although his last 2 have gone the 3-round distance. I'm Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Good luck with your picks. Enjoy the show. UFC 249 in Jacksonville. We've got sports back tomorrow. Over and out.